Hey guys, it's Greg. In this video we would like to show you a Weirdwood Manor, which is a co-op game for 1 to 4 players. This is a prototype, so remember that those components are not final. When we play this game, we are really just shocked how enjoyable this game was. It's still more or less the beginning of the year, and we already have one of the most anticipated Kickstarters this year. So I think this year can be quite interesting for us gamers. So if you're interested in co-ops, just check out the rest of this video, as the game can be quite interesting for you, I think.
Weirdwood Manor is a huge surprise for us. Seeing promo graphics, we are thinking in the category of a family game, but this is a complex cooperative board game with a massive amount of stuff to do and manage. The main idea of the game, the ever-shifting manor, is also a core of the mechanics here. With each turn, you have to play one of your cards, and besides activating its powers, you need to place it in one of the available spots above your player's boards, representing 4 different parts of the day. Depending on where you put the card and what current time is in the manor, the inner circle will move around for the different amount of spaces, unlocking some rooms and paths while closing others. If by doing this the day passed, you need to turn the outer ring as well. If you are not taking this into the account while planning your moves, you can even lock other heroes in the rooms or simply mess with the strategy. And shifting manor is one of many things happening here. Do you see these little scarabs? They're constantly spreading across the mansion, blocking room actions where they are present, and even destroying the rooms if 2 of them enter the same space. At the same time, the boss you need to defeat is growing in power with passing days, not only messing with your plans, but also depleting the health of the owner of the mansion, a lady in the inner circle called the throne room. If her health drops to 0 or you run out of days before defeating the boss, the game is over. Fortunately, you have plenty of things to use against the bad-looking odds. First of all, each room in the mansion activates different actions, from gaining resources through forging your dice and gaining companions to helping other players, and many other things. It's a lot, and at the very beginning we were feeling overwhelmed, so it would be nice to add some personal goals to help with the navigation for the very first turns, but ultimately this vast amount of possibilities is one of the strongest sides of the game, and if you liked Loop by Pantasaurus Games, you're gonna love Weirdwood Manor even more. A lot of stuff you can do, besides some vast amount of rooms to activate, is tied up with your player boards and growing your hero. You can forge through dice to not only have more of them during combat, but also unlock extra skills for them. You can raise your health, which not only boosts your survivability, but also allows you to have more cards in your hand. By paying right resources, you can activate strong, unique for your hero skills, often giving you experience for this. Using these experience points, you can develop 3 different tracks: power, battle and tactics, each giving different benefits on the way, and each ending with some strong one-use-only skill. This whole management of what's happening on the player boards works awesome. It's very rewarding and provides plenty of possibilities. In general, we love asymmetric board games, but it's hard to hit the sweet spot where the asymmetry is high enough to not just be an artificial add-on, but not so high that it makes the game unplayable for most of the players due to the massive amount of time to spend for learning the unique mechanics. Here this aspect feels balanced, and despite plenty of differences between heroes, including super skills, different cards in hand and even special rules for some of the heroes, you can learn it all relatively quickly. Probably my favorite aspect of the game is how many different combinations you can make each turn, making this game the total opposite of repetitiveness. At the very beginning we were thinking simply, gain resources and use them to grow your hero, but the longer the session lasts, the more creative you need to be, and I will use Eugene as the example. Thanks to one of the previous players, he has in his vault a card allowing him to move, then attack. He is using this to move to the throne room and attack all 6 scarabs there. I feel quite confident with this move because not only have my previously played card matched icons on the sides, giving me one sword, but I have also played a tactic card, providing another 2 swords, and up to this, matching the icon on the right side of the card, making it wild, which means I can choose what it represents. So I would probably choose one more sword. Both sides roll the dice, and in the result 2 scarabs want to run away, but thanks to my forged dice I can swap 2 dice with the enemy, forcing one of those scarabs to stay and lower the defense of the entire group, ultimately killing 5 of the scarabs using swords in my dice pool. For killing 5 of them I get plenty of experience points. I used to boost my battle track and rise both attack and health. My health is already at max, which means every time I should rise it, I get 2 extra experience points instead, which I use to move further on my power track, where I can get rare resources required to activate my special skills. But firstly, after defeating the scarabs, I can use this room, and the throne room allows me to teleport myself to another room, after which I can activate this room as well. Plus, I can use one of my optional super skills because now I have this rare resource. And guess what? It's not the shortest combo you could make in your turn, because with companions, for example, you can use their skills as well. Not only do some rooms offer skills affecting other players, but also the skills of our heroes leave plenty of room for a big amount of interaction between players. Many of the special skills can be used into variants, and for example, Eugene can use Tech Talk to boost himself before the battle, shifting time, but also freeze time for an entire turn during the turn of another player. Many cards in the heroes deck also affect our friends, including swapping positions or even whole rooms. A unique trait of Eugene allows other players to put cards in his treasure vault, which allows using every card in the game by every hero, which is simply insane, but it works wonders for building mentioned previously combos. With the prototype we got 3 bosses to fight with: Ogre looking a bit like werewolf, creepy ghost, and the dark mage Fierce. What's great is the fact that each boss is not only a different difficulty level, but also totally different behavior, mechanics, and even monster boards. Each of them offers a different playstyle and challenge, instead of being lazy copies with different amount of health points and few different skills. So I really appreciate the huge effort designers put into this. So far you can feel this game offers a lot, maybe even too much, right? But another great thing here is a streamlined approach to the rules. The rulebook is short, the game can be easily explained in 10 or 15 minutes, and even the reference card is small but cover all of the main rules. The game plays equally great with every player count. When playing solo, you can play as one hero, but it's more fun to control at least 2 to get benefits from interaction between them. With the bigger player count, the only thing changing is the time needed for the session, but fortunately it doesn't add up proportionally to the player count. And when it seems easier to manage a situation on the board with 4 or 5 players, so many things can change in dimension from the last turn that you need to be constantly aware of what is happening on the board. This remark is going to be highly subjective, but in my opinion, this game will be even better if supported by more mature graphic arts, including heroes. Don't get me wrong, the game looks great, including awesome art. However, considering how good and the complex engine is, plus we are fighting monsters in supernatural dimension, I would prefer a darker, grimmer and more realistic style of graphics. I understand where it comes from, it's easier to sell this game as entertainment for everyone, but honestly, I don't see a much younger audience being able to handle so many aspects during the session. I know Weirdwood has already established an IP tied up with the series of books, but still I would appreciate playing as some older, far from typical heroes, people like we often get with Arkham Horror, for example. The only true complaint we can think of so far is the difficulty and its balance. When the very first session is super tough, mostly due to the fact how many elements, mechanics and relations between them game offers, once you become fluent with them, it's relatively easy to deal with the boss by the time runs out. Once fully developed, our heroes are almost unstoppable, and then when it seems impossible during a 4-player session to make all of the heroes killing machines, in a situation when 3 players sacrifice themselves to control what's happening on the board and help the 4th player gain stuff, while this player focuses mostly on his development, he can smash the boss in 2 tries without other players even trying to deplete boss health. The truth is, we saw Weirdwood Manor stand during the last Essen Spiel, but with so many games during that fair, we skipped this awesome game thinking it was one of many properly looking but bland in action games from the first time publishers. Don't judge by the cover, they say, and our time with the prototype proven Weirdwood Manor is not only much better than we thought, but it also matches all of the criteria we expect from co-op games. Simple rules, much harder to master, endless replayability, massive space for creating unique combos, and plenty of things to track where most of the odds are against the player until he survives long enough to make himself stronger, instantly makes this game one of the most anticipated Kickstarter of this year. When there isn't much to complain about here, a more mature theme is always a pro for us. The game can use also some polishing when it comes to balancing the difficulty for the whole session, and some small design changes on the board will bring it closer to perfection. When we don't score a prototype by default, currently Weirdwood Manor feels like a strong 8, with the potential for at least an easy 9, especially if a balance would be flawless in the final copy of the game. That's all for today, see you at the next game, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.